this episode of Shipwrecked, we are joined by Defaced and Roger Dickerman. Defaced is an incredible artist known for his one-on-one works as well as creating Defaced and Friends. Roger Dickerman is the head of Web3 at Aku, the founder of Artifacts, and an overall large art collector in the space. We dive into both of their origin stories, how they met Redbeard, how they fell into the crypto art rabbit hole, Defaced creative process, and so much more. As always, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Redbeard, Deeze, and guests may own NFTs discussion.
GM friends, we're here today with our first kickoff episode of Shipwrecked, a name we just came up with 2 minutes ago thanks to Defaced. Yeah. We are here with Redbeard, myself, Defaced, Roger. We're going to get into a bunch of shit. We're not quite sure what that shit will be, but we're going to start right now. So, GM.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. That's what GM stands for. And it is morning.
GM.
Yes.
GM, this was...
Hey,
GM. Is that your first GM you've ever said? Publicly?
Well, I do it privately.
Privately, usually, right? Okay. So it's the first public GM for Defaced, so I'm very proud of him. But it is a GM because we were all up late. This was a wild week at Basel.
Yeah, and we're still going to go another 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it's like we have...
But we're trying to have some conversations with friends and share them with the people who aren't at Basel, who are missing out, trying to share these scenic vibes. Just hang out.
It's really beautiful here.
Yeah, I mean, from Ohio to Basel. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure for you guys it's similar.
I just want to thank Fungi.
Yes.
He owns this house. He sold his beanie.
He sold his beanie punk to buy this place for Art Basel.
Incredible. 50-bedroom house.
And here he is.
Here he is.
GM. And thank you, Fungi, for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
I really
How
appreciate
does it feel to have such a nice place just in time for Basel?
Yeah.
Feel blessed. It's nice to have a place where everyone can come and hang out. And it's great to have you here. So thanks so much for coming.
Your name, Fungi, is it come from the fact that you are made up of shrooms?
Yes.
Is that instead of water, you're 90% shrooms?
90% mycelial mass. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of time and energy and thought went into coming up with that name.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, I do love the name. So.
Yeah.
But thank you for the house. So
anytime.
We are sharing this great stage. So let's really get into it because, we are all shipwrecked in many ways. We are shipwrecked in Miami. We are shipwrecked in this bear market. But we have some great people with us that I'm really excited about. We have Defaced, who's obviously, look how excited he is to be here right now this morning, and Roger. So let's start off with the most important question that I think everybody wants to know. Defaced, as collectors go, who do you like better, Roger or me?
I think it needs to be taken to the octagon.
You think that we need to fight it out?
Yeah, combat, yeah.
But that's not fair. I mean, he has muscles.
You can take steroids.
And I have bones.
You get 6 months.
I should be...
Yeah, 6 months to...
I get 6 months?
Inject anything into...
Can I choose the person to wrestle Roger? Like, somebody in this...
This isn't Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
you don't get to choose, the mountain's going to come protect me.
It has to at least be within Guppy. So it has to be you, Will, or Ian.
I mean, Will...
Tag team.
Okay. Will has muscles, though.
Yeah. I mean, you could
I
put
think,
Will forth. It's actually a serious strategy because I really like Will. And I don't like you.
Right.
I'd be very motivated.
You'd be very motivated. Yeah, that's a good point. See, I was thinking I could choose Ed, and I could, go on his shoulders like Master Blaster from Beyond Thunderdome, and we could just, we could fight that way.
You're going to play chicken.
Do I get someone?
Yeah.
Are you going to go in the pool?
No, he doesn't get anybody on his shoulders. I go on Ed's shoulders.
That's unfair.
It should be on weight. It should be on weight. Your weight should be equal.
We have boxing gloves at our Airbnb.
Do we?
At our
shit.
Airbnb, if you guys need to fight it out before the end of the week.
6 months. How about 6 hours?
6 hours?
See you in the octagon.
No, that's definitely not happening. So, all right, let's start with Roger, right? I think that, Roger, you have been in this space for a while. Why don't you tell us a little bit
How did you get in this space?
So, I am 3 components of life. I am art appreciation, then serious academics, business, trading, market making, and then fitness and wellness, which is like community and empathy, right? So these are the dots that connect in my life. I was burning out of the fitness business, starting to explore everything. So anything from stocks, precious metals, collectibles, you name it. I was just kind of having fun, casting attention out. And I remember finding the terminology NFT in the summer of 2020. And when I first approached NFTs, it was just something to trade. There were no relationships there. It was just something that I found. Found Nifty Gateway first, dove all the way in. Then very quickly I started to say to myself, oh, well, I actually really enjoy that piece of art.
What was the first piece of art you bought at Nifty?
So first piece of art was Slime Sunday, the classic Last Stand of the Nation State.
Amazing.
Right? Still have it to this day. We'll never, that's like the first one.
Can't sell your first NFT.
Exactly.
That feels weird.
Especially a legend like that. That's a great piece.
And it was a perfect piece. If we really retrace history, it was a $40 open edition, which is crazy to say today. But that was what did it. I was kicking the tires. I had tried to get Beeple's first drop. Didn't yet know how to hack the first come, first serve. So I remember lying on my back, actually for the Beeple and then for a Ferocious's first drop. I was lying on my back in a bed, clicking buy. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll buy this. Buy. No, you failed. I'm like, oh, interesting. What's going on here? Right?
You failed.
But then
Were you trying to get politics is bullshit?
What's that?
Was it politics is bullshit for $1?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Didn't get it. Right. Still, I have it today, but didn't get it then. And then a little time passes. Slime Sunday, $40 open edition. I'm like, I enjoy this. This is the perfect test case. $40. Let's go. But then very quickly after that, and I was still in a flipper mentality, but that was the first one. So I'm like, okay, let's keep that. And now I'm going to get to flipping. So I was doing that every single night on Nifty Gateway. That was peak time. And then I started to find the artists.
It feels like years ago.
When those Nifty
really
Gateway
is
drops would drop
now.
and then be instantly profitable.
Right.
I sold that Beeple Pikachu for like $4,000 immediately, and then I watched it rip to over 100. I'm like, I'm an idiot. Like, people care about this? Okay, fuck.
I mean, it was a nice piece, but it's true. Like back then, everything was just. But that
You
was
could
like,
just mint everything on Nifty, and it was like, oh, we're gonna make money.
But that's what happened.
The only thing you didn't know in that era was whether you were going to get it initially. Then you had to make a decision. Do I then try to scoop the bots who were selling it cheap, and will it escalate from there? And the answer was almost always yes still.
So that's why, like, for made a lot of sense, because I was just doing that with shitcoins years prior. It was the same thing. It'd be like, oh, to buy the shitcoin, I would go to sleep. I wake up next morning, it was like 10,000x. Like, well, I'm a genius. I know what I'm doing. Like, but
I know what I'm doing.
I'm the greatest
I'm
trader
the greatest
in the world.
trader in the world. So then once NFT started doing, I'm like, well, okay, there's a picture this time. So obviously I know what I'm doing, But, yeah. So you were into fitness.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we could put pictures up after, because I have a
You
picture.
want
I
the
have
picture?
a picture of Roger with his shirt off. I just want to make sure that we could put that on when we talk about this. Okay.
To clarify, I was not in your presence when that
No.
picture was taken.
No. This was like a model picture that you took, obviously, when you were a bodybuilder, correct?
I used to have abs. Yes,
And
confirmed.
you were a bodybuilder.
No, more like not a bodybuilder, more like I can get very fit and show you how to.
Oh, so you were one of those, like, the video people, like, jump in, do those types
Initially,
of things?
so I never intended to open a brick and mortar, and my wife, then girlfriend, ultimately wife, we opened a brick and mortar. But I was never. I intended to do something in fitness software or some business venture, but I was obsessed at the time with changing my body. I didn't grow up fit, and so I learned how to change my body in college. And so I'm like, let me show others. My friends started asking me for advice, and then that sort of, I'm like, okay, now let me do this for more people, but again, not a brick and mortar.
Right.
I decided to go to a gym. I got a membership, and then the manager there was like, hey, why don't you be a trainer here? And I'm like, that would be a cool use case for what I'm going to do over here. And then it turned into a 10-year brick and mortar. So weird.
Deeze, you know what this means?
Brick and mortar?
No. Fitness NFTs. I mean, we haven't seen fitness NFTs
We had
yet.
Step-In,
Oh, that's true. All right.
and it's already gone.
It's already gone.
That
It was there.
that Ponzi circle of
Yeah.
life is dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
that started and went
there'll be
pretty-
another one probably.
Yeah.
Fit to earn. Like
Fit
this
to
will be
earn.
one with the Whoop. Plug in your Whoop data.
By the way, I just bought that.
Let's go.
I was
Sleep to earn.
That would be great because I take enormous amount of naps. Very, very short naps during the day, like usually 5 to 10 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Vinny, are you like Kramer in that episode of Seinfeld?
Yes.
Where you're taking naps and then falling asleep at the most random times?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
You're taking 5 to 10 minute naps?
Yeah, sometimes like I'm in meetings and I'll just be sleeping and then they'll ask me a question. I'll wake up and
Does
I'll
that count as a
but it'll be
nap?
crazy because like I'm kind of sleeping, but I'm also listening to what's going on. So I could take a nap and they could ask me a question, and while I'm sleeping, I hear the question.
Are you
and then answer
texting
it.
while sleeping at 5? Because sometimes we'll text or you'll send something at 3 a.m.
Yeah, it's
and then
late.
I wake up super early. I'll wake up at 5.
Yeah.
And you're literally responding at 5. And I'm so confused. I'm like, it's a Wednesday, Benny. What's going on?
I don't know either.
You're about to go to school.
The truth is, I feel like my sleep is off. That's why I got the Whoop. That
You want to see just how bad it is?
I want to see how
you
bad
want that
it is.
chart at the end of the month that says what
Yeah.
you needed and
Yeah,
what
like,
you got,
need,
and you're just in
you
the
need
fucking
to
valley.
live. You need to sleep. That's what it's gonna say. Like, it's bad. I mean, my sleep actually, crazy enough, is better now than it was in 2017.
Well,
In
yeah.
2017, I think I slept 5 hours the whole year. It was the craziest thing in the world because I would leave my phone with the this time I didn't do it with NFTs, with the like alarms when Ether or Bitcoin would go, or my shitcoins would go at certain prices. And literally all night it's like, and I would like fall asleep and wake me up. Finally, my wife's like, "You gotta get the fuck out of the bed. Like, you can't sleep with me anymore." And then I finally turned it off at night. So, but yeah,
I've always been someone who doesn't sleep enough.
yeah, I don't
But
sleep enough.
it's been great.
Yeah, I'm gonna try the Whoop.
So, Roger, going
sorry.
back to, we're talking about your 3 pillars. On the art side, how did you get into art before NFTs? Because it seems like you had some passion or love for it before ever knowing like what the fuck Nifty Gateway was.
As a kid and as a teenager, I was passionate about drawing, right? I loved to draw. And so I took some like informal art classes. I'm not a serious art education per se, but a passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a kid, I was a collectibles guy. I was a comic book guy. And I started to get into comic book art to the point that now, like, shout out to James White, a great NFT artist, but we joke all the time. We want to buy Jay Lee, who's an artist in the comic book industry. We wanted to buy Jay Lee's original covers because I was getting really into what was going on there and studying it a little bit. So again, nothing crazy formal, but a passion, and I felt that reinvigorated here in a totally unexpected way.
So, walk us through when you see somebody like Defaced and what that means to you, like the art, and like what you saw in his art.
So what I used to do when I understood that I liked art, right? Because remember, I was just trading at first. And then I started to say, okay, I'm going to trade tonight, but that piece, I really like it. So I'm going to trade to profit, but I'm going to vault that piece. I started to go into it with that mentality.
Okay.
And then over time, that just kept shifting. So when I found Defaced, it was not too long after I started trading NFTs, but I had come to that realization that I actually like the art here. So what I would do is I would find an artist. I would do all the research. Who is this person, right? And I would go into Instagram portfolio, website if it was there, anything that I could find. And with Defaced, I remember finding these Maker's Place pieces. And Starman, the original Starman, LOL, Benny, we're going to get to it. It was just sitting there. And I thought, holy shit. I had seen Defaced on Twitter, I believe, at the time. And I just went down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I looked at, your early logo work and your development after that. And just assaulted like Defaced history and came to the realization, I'm like, I love, 1, your art, 2, your evolution. Because I think when you scrolled all the way back to the origin, at least what you had shared publicly, the evolution was so crystal clear, and I just loved your approach. And so I remember reaching out to you because at that time I don't think it was listed. I think it was like, well, I'm going to just ship in an offer here, and just like I reached out to you in DMs. I'm like, hey, just like made an offer on this work. What's up?
Yeah,
And then later
it's a
that
great
day,
place.
I think that was it.
So Kate. Well, let's say Kane. Okay. Kane, Defaced. I don't know.
Hi, Benny.
Sorry. I know from why don't you tell your story? Because I know your story is really interesting. Because you were young.
Kind of.
Yeah, but with Apple and
Yeah,
Instagram.
sure. So I was at school, like sixth form, so that's before you go to university, and I was there for a year, and I'd done graphic design, psychology, and biology, and the only thing I was interested in was graphic design. Like everything else, just fucking miserable. Like wanted to blow my brains out. I was like, how the fuck can anyone do this? And I remember speaking to my graphics teacher, and I was speaking to her about leaving and doing something else, and she was like, if anyone in this class would do it, it should be you. Like, everyone, like, just makes sense. And I was like, that's all I need. Because I was, like, teaching her stuff on Photoshop, and, like, I was like, what the fuck am I gaining out of this? Like, so I went home, and I was like, Mum, like, what do you think if I like take a year out and just like go freelance and just post work, like the logos on Instagram, and like sold those for 30 quid for a while. And yeah, that's how sort of the ball started rolling. Moved into more like branding, like packaging, so like banners and logos and the whole like sort of like stream packages as well for like the little camera box and all that shit. Yeah, that went like well. Then we started moving into more illustration based stuff. Then I just got an email one day, and it was like, I thought it was bullshit. It was like senior art buyer from like signed off by Apple. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is a scam. Okay. So I done the old LinkedIn like dive. I was like,
it was the first NFT scam that you got.
Yeah. So it was this project, and I was like, good money, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is like the lottery. And it's during COVID. I remember running out into the garden. I was like, Mum, look at that. It's like 15k. But I was like, fucking, I've won. I've won. Like, if I can do this like once a year, like that's minimum wage or whatever, and we're done. So, yeah, that was like a big moment.
And it was like during COVID. So I know you said like you're trying to help your family out also, and it was like this perfect time.
It's fucking unstable time. So it was really cool to like have that opportunity. Then I done some stuff for startups, like an education game, like making assets for that. Then I was sort of like dabbling, and then Loopify messaged me and was like, you should do NFTs. Because before NFTs, there was like a graphic design sort of pool of people on Twitter who were like teenagers essentially, and a lot of them were from esports, and like they made stuff for like Call of Duty clans and had their own clans and like made banners, and like, so there's this weird intersection with like NFTs and like all these esports like Call of Duty like crowd, and a lot of them went off to art to be like art director at fucking 100 Thieves and like all this shit. So it was very weird like to have that young talent almost get like a steroid injection into like these great fucking artists. So yeah, I Loopify reached out, I spoke to him on Discord for a bit, and I was like, I don't know, like this is strange. Like Googled it a bit, and I was like, I'll wait. I'll just see how it all plays out and see. Then I saw some of Fiwo's stuff, and I was like, holy shit, like this is cool. This is like sick. And I sort of then I started on Wearable like mid 2020, I think.
What? And then your first major 1-to-1 was sold to me.
How did you find Defaced?
Major 101.
It's his first major 1-to-1. That's an epic piece. We could put that one up also.
Sounds
right?
biased.
Good.
It sounds biased. It sounds like Redbeard is touting his bag.
No.
It sounds super biased. And how is the original Starman not an epic 101?
I'll tell you why. Explain. Because the amount of love that he put into the piece that he made for me, and the fact that it includes Amani LaRussa as the animator, is more historical in some ways. Just gonna throw that out.
I'm sorry, that's split provenance. It doesn't fly here.
No, it doesn't play. Royalties.
Yo, what's up with the fucking mosquitoes in Florida, dude?
Yeah.
Getting eaten.
Fuck
I'm
these
like,
things,
I'm
man.
getting bitten
They're
up here,
attacking.
man. Like,
I just had to
gonna be
get shout
doing
out to
the-
them fuckers.
We're
Like,
gonna be
they're
doing
out
the
here.
NFT now fireside chat with like a lump.
like a lumps all over your head.
Like, God damn, I have to wear pants to the next one.
No, but that piece, I think I just reached out to you. We were talking a little bit. I really had loved your stuff, and
Wait, but how did you find them? Like, were you on Twitter, just chilling?
I found you on Twitter,
Instagram scrolling.
and I'm trying to remember exactly how.
Probably a retweet or something.
Yeah, something
Popped
like
up.
that.
You're like, oh fuck, what's this?
It's like, oh, this guy's stuff's amazing. And then, what is this crap? No. And then we started talking, and then I said, I had this idea for my daughter who couldn't sleep at night, that I wanted to make her an NFT dream catcher. And I found this like really cool like mirror that's also a screen from China. So I asked you if you do commissions, and I think you said no. And then I said, and
He's like, fuck.
first, and,
Oh.
yeah, no. You're like, yeah, get the fuck. Who the fuck is this guy? And then I think we started talking, and then you're like, what's the idea? And I told you, and then you hired
I'd be a
Amani.
bad guy if I didn't do that.
Exactly. and it was such an epic piece. It was my favorite by far that I own, and that was it. And that's how we met.
Yeah, it's a special piece, definitely.
That was
So you said you minted your first piece on Rarible?
Yeah, that
How-
was weird time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I bought my first NFT on Rarible. It was like a Pepe
It was the
meme.
place, man. It was popping off there.
Yeah,
It was.
that summer, I mean, you were getting Rari tokens.
Yes.
You were able to sell those, get a little on the side. Every day you wake up, it's like BitBoy, Ivan and Tech, and Pranksy are wash trading Rarible to get each other shit. And it's like, wow, this is magical. Like this, what is this site? And then like a year later, no one uses Rarible.
Remember when Mark Cuban came in
Yep.
and released his batch of NFTs on Rarible?
Yep.
That was a thing.
And they flew.
They
And
flew.
they were getting
Rary was
flipped.
running to the moon.
Remember when we had something called liquidity?
Now we're shipwrecked. No liquidity.
No.
That's why we're shipwrecked.
Here comes the shipwreck.
There's no liquidity.
No.
No liquid.
We're
I
just
mean,
on the side of a beach.
We're beached. We're
Tide
a
is
we're
out.
a beach boat right now because it's liquid death.
We're a
100%.
couple beached
We had a
whales.
hell of a ride, though.
It was great. It was, but it's really crazy because if you think about it, the timing wasn't that long. I mean, it was like what, 2 years total, max, kind of 2.5 if you get lucky, 3, right? But some people minted some punks early on in like.
I would define
2016.
that craziness as like starting in late July 2020
Yeah.
with Uniswap
Yes.
and the original Punks run where they went from like under an ETH to 3 to 5 ETH by that September. And then the Nifty Gateway boom,
Yeah.
followed by Top Shot, followed by Bored Apes being minted. All the while, ETH, the underlying asset, has went from $200 to $4,800 or whatever the fuck it got up to. While we're flipping it, making more ETH the whole time. It was like, and then it probably ended, I would say, when like Luna collapsed. Like Terra Luna's like where it ended for me.
I said the top was. Do you remember when I said the top was? There's 2 times.
Last Art Battle.
I don't know if you said this, but I think Grimes was the top.
Grimes, I think, could have been a top. But I said to you, the first one was when OX Function told everybody he was Michael Nye. And I was like, oh, all right.
Oh, it's Shil Nye.
It's Shil Nye. I was
He's
like,
back.
well, I guess if he's back, this is over. And then
He made money this time? Fuck, it must have been way too easy.
And by the way, no, I'm not knocking him. It's just like, okay, here, back. And the other thing was, around the same time, my mother-in-law flew in and asked me what she should buy as an NFT, and I got really upset. And that's when I started selling everything because
For me, it was the moment I minted something called fast food, low effort baby punks.
Yeah.
I literally there's screenshots from the chats being like, guys, I just marked the top. Like, I just dropped like hundreds of dollars on these. It's not going to go well from here on out, and it's all my bad.
And then
it just like Luna collapsed like the next day.
And then when you start hearing some like bigger influencers like, look, I'm selling because I'm going through a divorce. That's like, that was also a red flag to me because like back in the day, that was like also always the excuse. Like when big bags would like sell, it would be like, oh, I'm going through a divorce. Like right after an ICO, they made like $200 million. They're like, I have to leave the company because I'm getting a divorce. It's like 2 days after the ICO.
Guys, my assistant took over my wallet.
Right, exactly. My assistant took over my wallet. Right. Yeah. I don't know who that is. But yeah. So I'm just saying like all those flags, it was just like obvious. Like back in the day, actually, the biggest one that should have been obvious for everybody was when, what's his name? Who owned, who's the CEO of, what's that coin? He's like, Lee. He's like, I'm selling all my coin. Charlie. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
he sold all his like.
Yeah. Charlie Lee, master of dumping his own coin. Yep. Like he made Litecoin, he marketed it as the silver to Bitcoin's gold, and then like the next thing you know, he's just cashing out hundreds of millions of dollars at the top in 2017.
Literally, that was the top, and I remember my friends, and we've been in for a while already, and I was like, guys, maybe this is a sign. And like, and Charlie's like, I'm not saying that the ecosystem's bad. I'm just saying I want to make money. And looking back, we all should have been like, well,
I want to make money.
I want to make money
Maybe
too.
I should take some money off the table.
So I think like when we started seeing influencers sell, we should have, realized that as well. And rightfully so. Everybody should be making money. I mean, we all know that Roger, I don't know if you know this, he sold out, a year ago. He has no soul in this.
He looks surprised.
Oh,
So, yeah.
He looks like he didn't sell.
He flew his jet down here. His private jet. So.
He skydived.
Oh,
Yeah, he skydived right out.
He landed right here
Let's
on the court.
transition that because we're talking about friends. Defaced, why don't you tell us a little bit about your collection? You know, Defaced and Friends, I think, is like one of your core collections.
Yeah.
It's like your only collection.
Yeah,
really.
what do you want to know? It's just some stuff I made and done.
How'd you come up with it? What was the idea behind it? I mean, obviously you
Yeah.
have a lot of friends.
Yeah, I got two. IRL. Yeah, it was more. I think initially it was like I used to create a piece almost maybe every day for like a year or whatever, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with all this stuff. It was like just backlogged, but it was more like it was cool. It was like a journaling process, and like I got a lot better at my craft, and then I look back and a lot of my emphasis was on like character design, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of cool little guys here, and I like made a GIF of like it flicking through like each of them like 100 or whatever, and it just went fucking crazy. You got like 20k likes or whatever, which for me it was like mental, and like the retweets. I was like, oh shit, and people were like when.
When?
I was like, when? Fucking what? Like it's
It's a gift.
yeah, it's a GIF.
When?
Yeah. So that was sort of premise. I was like, oh shit, like there's attention, and yeah, I just made the collection, spoke to Roger and everyone, and they're like, yeah, like, see what happens, and yeah, that's sort of it.
But it speaks to like you're trying to create like a family, right? Like that's like, yeah. Go.
No, hold that point. I'm gonna make a point after.
Okay. Like you talk about that with me all the time. Like that
Yeah.
Starman isn't alone in your universe, but
Yeah.
he has like a full family of
Yeah, I
characters.
don't know.
and
I
stuff.
think it's interesting as well. I think before that, I don't know how many people have done those sort of smaller scale collections of like one-on-one pieces. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a few people looked at that and was like, okay, that's an option. Like, you don't have to do a fucking 10k and sell your soul and create, like, essentially a sign up, create a business a lot of the time when you create a 10k collection. And I've seen a lot of people like it fucking just exhausts them, and I'm like, I'm fuck that, man. Like, I've got other shit to do. So that was sort of, it all sort of like clicked perfectly, and I was like, oh shit, and it felt good, and yeah, I don't know, it feels like the collection, I don't know, it feels special. Yeah, I don't know why. Like,
Yeah, it's special.
I don't know.
Do you remember the release?
Oh
It
man,
didn't go well for some of us.
no. Well, you texted me like, oh hey, I'm gonna come out with something. We spoke a little, and then I remember that morning, like it just like released, and then I was texting you like, yo, what happened? You're like, I don't know, it sold out so quickly, and the bots bought like 65% of them. I think it was like some crazy number. But the good news is, we bought most of them back. I believe. I think that bot that got it, we like the community wise. Like I think we own 6 at this point. Like,
Do you have 6 friends now?
yeah,
Wow.
I think so. 5 or 6. Listen, I'm a better friend. Just saying. How many friends do you...
Friendship points. Look at the leaderboard.
Yeah,
Check
exactly.
the chain.
I'm gonna buy. Yeah, exactly. How many friends do you own, Roger? I'm just curious. You can
2.
say 2. Thank you.
So you are a bigger
Everybody get that.
Defaced and Friends collector.
No, because I own his 1-to-1 that he did before Starman. I think. Just throwing that out there.
That's false, but nice try.
Yeah. No. So Roger, I don't know. Can we talk a little bit about like what's coming next? Because I know. I think it'd be great. Like we get some alpha, right? A little alpha here.
I'll take some alpha. I'm over here looking
sure.
up. I got the collection up. I'm
Nice.
on the floor.
Yeah, so I think, so we've been working on Star Maker for fucking ages, and it's sort of come from the Starman piece that Roger owned, such a great, massive, monumental piece and one-on-one. It was just, Roger just picked it up, and don't know what happened there. It was amazing, yeah. But yeah, so like Starman sort of come out of like sort of daily, sort of like artistic process, and I was dabbling in Cinema 4D, and yeah, it was fucking just trying to learn it really, and that character sort of come about, and I was like, oh, I like this guy, like he feels. I talked to Roger about it, and I was talking to him about like silhouettes and like proportion. I was like, it just clicked, like the color palette clicked, like the proportions. Like if you have Mickey Mouse and like do a cutout or Pikachu, like you can identify it, like just
so
from
interesting. Yeah.
So
you
I was
just
like,
know them by their.
And like if you do have Starman, like you have a similar, like okay, you have the square like circles and shit.
That's it. So when you were making him, you did that with it. With that in
so
mind.
it's sort of like, sort of that. Then I just kept reusing the character as a sort of mascot for a while, and like sort of like doing fake sort of like cereal boxes in space and like fun stuff, and like, oh, what feels like a little toy. Then I was like, okay, what if this is a whole fucking thing? So we done like an animated short, we done like a game, we done like a bunch of shit. We like made the puppet, we like filmed stuff with the puppet, like rented out a studio and like had like a fucking camera guy and lighting guy. So we made all this shit. And I like looked back this year and I was like, I don't want to use fucking any of it. I was like, I don't know. I just got to a point where I wanted to like create something Mario-esque with like the sort of protagonist that's sort of mute, like doesn't have much personality, but then the sort of mechanics or whatever take precedent in the world. And I was like, I got to a point where I was like, oh, it doesn't speak to me, like personally. Like I think Mario's a good IP, but I don't know like the story, like and like the resonance, like the direct communication with people. Like I think it's just because it's been such a long standing IP. So I don't know. I was sort of like thinking that over, and I was like, okay, what would I fucking like to see? And I think that's where I sort of had a switch in New York when I was speaking to you, and I was well, I don't know. I just felt like I want to make something else.
Right.
So like we're talking about making like ideally like long term. I want to do like a fucking puppet show, like sort of like well directed, like sort of like fucking have it all set in space, have like all the sets fucking built out, and like create something like industry standard. Because I feel like NFT stuff gets a pass almost because it's NFT. Like it doesn't have to be like perfect or like fucking like top tier, like fucking BAFTA award winning, like Oscar award. It can just sort of, it's NFT. Like it can sort of pass. So I want to spend the time and make something that I really fucking am proud of. So I think that's where I sort of went back and scrapped it and pivoted, and yeah, it should be cool. Yeah,
that's great.
Can we go? I'm gonna go back for a second. Something that shocked me about Defaced, and I thought was very unique at the time. You can throw age into the conversation because you're young, and when we first met, you just turned 13.
Well, he's saying that because you're a lot younger than Roger. Yeah,
for facts,
right?
Facts. But I remember when we first started talking, when I'd done the back work on who you were, and then we started talking. We talked over Starman. We started talking more, and we did the Origin Stories interview. Yeah. One, you cursed like a sailor. When did that change?
Everyone told me off.
So if anyone goes back and watches that interview, Defaced was a wild man. It was like every third word was "fuck this, fuck that." I'm like, wow. Okay.
From the Call of Duty scene. I mean, I'm born and raised in that scene. I know how it is.
He thought he was just playing COD. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Fuck you, man. You don't have my back.
It was a good 90 minutes of just intensity and awesomeness. And part of that too, we jammed on,
which is also funny because I know you're very close with Fiwo, and that's like the opposite of the way that he talks. So it's kind of funny to see that. I would love to be in a room with just the two of you, and you're just like, fuck this, fuck that. Yeah. Fiwo's like, but it's so beautiful, you know.
But I was so impressed. I mean, we were jamming on Gary Vee and business philosophy. I came away from that interview and a lot of our conversations like, this dude gets it. Like, this dude gets it and has a big vision, and I think it goes back again to that evolution of art that was clearly right there on Instagram and forward. But the vision for Starman, like your hunger to try a puppet, inflatable, like you were experimenting with everything, and I always felt like you had this North Star that in reality you'll probably never get to because you're going to set another North Star. Like you are always pushing the envelope, and you get that side of it. And I just wanted to bring that up.
No, I think that's actually an excellent point because I think we've spoken about this also. I've spoken to you about this, but that innovation and that creativity, right? You know, when people ask like, who are your best, or who do you love to collect from the most? You know, I'm not shy about it. You know, Defaced, someone like Fiwo, and the two of them, who are probably way younger than all of us. But
you
like
took their ages and combined them.
They're still younger. but they're wise above their years probably more than most of us. And I think there's something definitely to say. I know that, Kane loves when we talk about him in front of him. But yeah, but it's true. I mean, there's just it's a fascinating thing to watch and hear people like both of them. And I know you're a big fan of Raph, and Raph is sort of on that same level, and a bunch of other artists. But there's not many in this space who totally get that. Like Imani's also very much like that. Like a lot of like really talented young artists who are seeing like, hey, this is not about just a sale or an NFT. This is building a brand. This is building, not not just IP, but sort of a world. And I think that's really that's what Web3 is all about.
By the way, everyone, how about tomorrow, Raph? He's going to be strutting to Art Basel like Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had a heavy hand in the art direction of a top. It's being argued right now, but people are already sort of sainting God of War as the top 5-10 video game of all time. And he's been touring the world, and he's about to like walk into Art Basel, having made a mark in the NFT space and kind of be away for a period of time, sort of promoting and again traveling and talking. It's a pretty cool moment, and he's so humble that I don't know that that's been talked about like yet to that level.
I don't know. He's so productive.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing so many things, and like he's on it all the time.
And it's like every time he
puts
out work,
come out. I'm like, how did you have time to make one of these while you're doing all this shit?
Every time his work comes out, it's brilliant. Like, it's not. There's no flaws. He's like unhuman. Like, I don't even know how he does it. And by the way, he struts like that to Comic-Con. So like I went once a year, so I dressed up as God of War with my daughter one year, and we went viral. It's my favorite. I dress up every year with my kids for Comic-Con, as you all know. And but one year, I don't remember years ago which Comic-Con it was San Diego or New York, but he was speaking, and the line to like, or he was maybe giving out autographs, whatever, but the line to like get in wherever it was like a mile long versus everybody else. Like, outside of the NFT space, Raph Grassetti is a fucking god. So it's just fascinating to me that out of all the artists that we have in our space, he has like sort of that pedigree in many ways. And he's like, and he's also so down to earth, even when you talk to him, and he's so humble about it, which I know Kane isn't, but other artists are. So yeah. But I know I mentioned it because I know you collect fuck render, and also big sort of same idea and similar ideas.
So how do you feel as a collector with all these different worlds being built, like trying to keep up with it all and trying to pick which worlds you think have the best chance at persisting?
It's tough.
Because that's tough. Like, there's a lot of worlds being built that are fucking amazing, and the more mushrooms I take, the more amazing they get.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait a second, like I'm betting on 6 dozen worlds. Like, which? Let me pare this down.
I'll let you answer first.
Well, I think first, because this is the thought process where when the space was hitting a certain size and people were sharing visions for worlds and games and everything in between, it's like, okay, wait a second. I mean, like, first of all, I can't keep up with everything. So you have to start sort of picking your lanes and paring down. And that doesn't happen naturally. It happens because you get forced to. You get sort of brought to your knees by the overarching quantity of stuff. So, all right, so you start picking your lanes. The question that I always ask is like, all right, first I start with the creator, right? My belief is in sort of Defaced first, and then Starman,
the person,
the friend,
right?
second,
Yeah,
right?
Agreed.
So it starts there. But then the question that I ask is, well, not that you have to have every detail scripted out today. I don't need your roadmap. But what is your current vision for this world? How does that play into your art? What does it mean for it? Are they synchronous? Are you trying to go somewhere else with this? I try to answer some of those questions. And again, if the answer is I don't know yet, I'm just doing something cool, that's fine. But I think you do see some things where you get a definitive answer, and it's like, okay, I don't think that these really go well together, and you're kind of playing at a couple different games at once, and I don't know how that road ends. And I sort of maybe lose a little confidence in those kind of scenarios. But then sometimes you'll ask a question, you get more definitive answers, and it's like, oh, this is like your unlock for your art, and around this corner is a possible holy shit moment. And that's the reverse effect for me, where then I get emboldened, where I'm like, I'm willing to wait and see if this hits, because if it does, like, wow.
I mean, as much as it hurts me to say, I kind of agree with Roger. And it's funny because, like, I don't think that I've invested a long term in a ton of PFPs. Actually, very few. I mean, I have a bunch of fuck render. I think that, also I feel very similar to him the way you do. I definitely bet on the person first. Like, the stuff you're wearing now, like Killer Acid to me is also the same idea. Like, there's something there. Like, you could tell he gets it, right? Like, not only is his art amazing, and like the way he brings himself and talks about it and sells his art, like there's a methodical sort of approach to it. We bought a pretty high up paint drop for FIWO. And then we were buying a bunch from the bottom. And, people always ask, like, why would you spend so much money at that time to do that when, he didn't really have a roadmap. And I'm like, but you could see from his work that he's already done that he very much has a roadmap. And I can't invest personally in FIWO as a person. So this is the closest I could ever do it. So for me, that's the best investment I can make. And I think that the more collectors focus in on that, I think that the more successful. So yeah, you could bet on 6 worlds. It's like being a VC. 2 might make it, 4 might not, and you're still going to hit it. We invest a ton in Parallel. There's a lot of other games out there. I don't know if it's going to make it. I'm just hoping. But again, the people who run Parallel on the game itself, it's phenomenal. They do a great job. So I'm betting on the team in a lot of ways.
I think for me, the worlds that I find myself most drawn to are the worlds that I feel like I've been getting invited to since I first discovered that artist's work. So there's artists like Defaced, like FIWO, like Fuckrender, like Jan from Peaceful Groupies.
Sure.
I could tell from seeing their work, oh, you're really showing me a world. They're really bringing you in, and you look at it and you're like, what goes on in this world? How did we get here? Where did all these pieces come to be, and how do they fit together? And I feel like that's the stuff that has really pulled me in.
I agree, and I think it's a shame because you're talking about Peaceful Groupies and just some other projects that unfortunately, not because the creator wanted it, but they fell into this sort of pump NFT mentality. And then when you meet the creators, they're still really working on it. They're totally. I'm trying to think of there's a few like that, just to getting to know those people. And it's sort of, oh, no, they really want this project to work. But now they're they have to worry about a floor price. And they never came into understanding what a floor price was. I mean, none of us did either. And it's unfortunate because it puts too much stress on them to finally have to create something, and then they're not doing what they really want to do.
We need to get past this.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee, and we know why, right?
Except the floor for Kane stuff. Yeah. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we know what perpetuates it, right? And what perpetuates it is it's just a ton of short-term flippers, percentage-wise, in the collector base. And that's fine. But I think, if you have a care for that creator and you have any semblance of mid or long-term time horizon, any focus that the creator is spending on that is shooting everybody in the foot simultaneously.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that energy is fine for one collection, but as soon as that creator just continues to live, they're clearly going to do more than one collection eventually. Then when that starts to get spread out, you literally see people just reaching their breaking points where more and more of their time gets spent on that. Less and less of their time gets spent on creation and innovation and inspiration. And then they just say, okay, I can't play that game anymore. And then they either leave or have to take a sabbatical or somehow figure it out on the run.
100%. Danny Cole, if you meet him in person, he loves his project. He really loves it. He wants to build it. He can't worry about the price. And I know that people don't want to hear that, but that's the truth. He didn't build it to sell everything for 5 Ether. He's, and his site that he did when you were running around, I played with that kids for hours. He put a lot of effort into that. I think that we need to get past that. I think the truth is we're going to be forced to get past it. I think you and I agree on this, because, Chevy Pop said this the other day. He believes that there's only an actively maybe 1,200 to 2,000 traders left. And if that's the case, then it's going to happen anyways, no matter what we do.
I think a problem too is too many people look at this stuff like investments and trades.
Yes.
That's kind of a lot of people came in gambling from other things. We're gambling on shit coins, gambling on digital collectibles like Top Shot. And then people hold the artists to the same standards and the same, heuristics and stuff. And it doesn't make sense. When I buy art or NFTs like paint, I just assume that I'm not selling this and getting liquidity back for a while. And I'm buying it with the intent to support the creator and be involved with the ecosystem. And then sometimes things happen where you have to sell or whatnot. Shit comes up. But in general, it's like, hey, I'm betting on this artist. This is kind of a bet on their vision. And you have to not think of it like a trade, especially in a bear market when there isn't really going to be that many catalysts. There's going to be like asynchronous news that comes out. I mean, you're going to have like idiosyncratic pumps, like where everything isn't correlated, but like, oh, something comes out, boom, this one thing pumps. But like, that's not the way to trade right now. Like, you are better off getting a second job and getting more cash flow to just dollar cost average into ETH than like, I think, trying to actively trade NFTs anyway.
I think it was always like that. I mean, from a long time ago, it was like, never quit your day job.
No.
Yeah, like keep working because, I mean,
at the end of the day, you can just stack more ETH. Like we all kind of believe in ETH. Like I'm pretty confident that I think ETH will be over $5,000 at some point in the next 5 to 10 years.
If you believe in it, it's going to happen, right?
Buying on this time horizon like that and just thinking, okay, if I hold this, it's going to multiply over the next 5 to 10 years, and I can just continue to buy art I like with it.
It's the same idea. Like ETH was at $100. Not that long.
$88. Substratum shorting the bottom with their fucking treasury.
And there was a time, by the way, when Bitcoin went down to around $88 in 2014. And nobody remembers those times. They only remember how high it was. But that's the whole point of a cycle, right? You know, I think that, and I guess, like, Kate, I'm curious to hear what you have to say, because I think this time it's a little bit different in some ways because we're connecting the art to it.
I've just been thinking about it in my head, and I think, to me, when we were like talking about projects and worlds, I was like, okay, like, I was thinking about movie like directors. There's very few directors that currently work where you will see the movie before you know anything about it.
Right.
So if Jordan Peele puts his name on a movie, or Tarantino, you're like, oh, this can be fucking good. And like, I feel like that would be the same with artists. Like, you might not know what Theo is going to do, but you're like, he's a fucking visionary.
And the artists don't owe us anything. Like, you know, they don't need to tell us their plan, right? It's like, oh, I bought Theo's paint drop. Like, okay, now you have to tell me exactly what you're doing in your business plan for the next 3 years. Like, I don't fucking understand that ever. Like,
buying a ticket to see a Tarantino movie,
right?
And you're like, yeah, I'll just go fucking see it,
right?
But then I'm also thinking, like, with collections and floor, it's almost like having a cult movie. Like, it might flop at the box office, then like over time, you're like, oh, this is a fucking. It doesn't make sense now, or it might not make click with like the mass or the culture. But in like 10 years' time, it'll be a fucking like cult classic, and everyone will be like, "How the fuck didn't I realize this?"
I've totally
and it happens
missed
with everything, with art, movie, music. Like, so many musicians like have just been slept on or through the fucking. Then like 20 years later, everyone's singing their praises, and it's just time.
It's actually really interesting. I'm thinking like that.
What do you think? Like, what are your like? Top 3 potential cult classics that we don't realize right now, or maybe just one if you don't have a top 3.
I don't know. Honest answer. My head's buried in the sand. So like,
can you tell us a little? You say that a lot. I'm just curious because I think that's a really important thing, especially now for artists to hear. You've been saying that for me forever.
Yeah. So I don't. My interests, like, day to day, are very, like, in other stuff. So, like, just for an example, like, I spend, like, 10 minutes on Twitter, like, a day. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, I just do the rounds, make sure everyone's alive, well, like, post, whatever, like, say hi, promote. Then I'm out. Then I'm like, okay, I need to research. So I want to do an event, say, example. Okay, who's really good at this sort of shit? So I'll go, like, through a rabbit hole of, like, how video games need to be informed by theme park developers. Then you'll find a guy who's wrote an essay who used to be a Disney Imagineer. So then he'll be like a 60-year-old guy who made Splash Mountain, or 70-year-old guy. Man, he's making YouTube videos. Then you reach out to him, when you speak to him about your project, and you just go through all these fucking rabbit holes. And same with like people who make fucking puppets and like quizzing them. And like, I feel like there's so much outside of NFTs that needs to be drawn in to like get it to like over the hill. But it's going to be work, and like finding these fucking niche like people and shit. And I feel like that's, I don't know, it's something I'm fascinated in. Like, I think NFTs is like such a good base of something, and I feel like we need to get all these fucking people in, like all these, there's probably like so many fucking old people out there who like know so much about all these.
And that's just smart too, because we don't want that knowledge to be lost with them, right? Like if that person who designed at 60 or 70, they might only have 10, 20 years left, and if that knowledge isn't passed down to younger people to carry that torch, it's effectively lost. And there's been a lot of knowledge throughout human history that we don't have anymore because we didn't have ways to write it down or distribute it. Now it's like thank God for fucking YouTube. Thank God we got the internet.
Well, the history actually can be written the right way, because history was always written by winners until now, right? Or at least it's better. I don't know.
It's better, yeah.
It's not as good yet, but it's...
No, that's such like a long-term way of thinking about it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so that's where my sort of fascination is, and it's very honest. Everyone would like me to say like, oh no, I'm fucking this fucking
No,
on this
I love
project,
that.
fucking this shit, but that's the reality of my day to day. Is very much entrenched in research and mundane stuff.
No, that's people don't see that though. Like people just see the output. They don't see all the work that goes into making the connections, figuring out how to elevate yourself to put out a better piece. Like that's crazy.
2 things. One, you say you're on Twitter 10, 15 minutes a day. 20 minutes. I think everybody, like everybody in terms of Twitter effectiveness should take a look at Defaced Twitter, because I think you actually do a wonderful job. Yeah. And that's, I think if someone from the outside looking in heard that would be kind of shocking, that you spend 20 minutes on Twitter.
He curates his Twitter like his art.
But that goes back to that you get it. Like I think at the end of the day, I'm sure there are days where you spend more time, but like if that's what you're doing almost every day, you are maximizing those 20 minutes. Like you are getting your art out there, you were saying your GMs, you like classically for a long time within the Defaced and Friends collection, like you would gear your daily posts around the floor friend, and not in a shilly way. You wouldn't be like, here's the link, buy and pump the floor. But you very like savvily would put that out there in a way I could just look at it and be like, oh, I see what he's doing. I mean, maybe you don't feel this way, but in my opinion, I was like, I see what he's doing, and he's doing it in a really classy way. Like he's kind of letting he's showing someone who's not interested at all. He's showing them his art, and he's showing them his friends. But someone who is interested kind of clicks in. It's like, oh, I haven't seen that one before, and then they go, and it's available, and it's right there.
I was gonna say, it made people want to like be part of that, which was great because you had that issue with the bots buying the whole, basically, 2/3 of the project. So that it really gave a sense of belonging. Question for Fungi: I have to pee. Can I just pee in the bushes over here?
Wherever you want, man.
Okay.
And guys, I have about like 5-10 minutes, and
okay, I'm gonna go pee while somebody asks you another question.
Okay.
Can't hold it 10 minutes. That's what old age does to you.
I mean, he did come in a robe.
I love that you waited for him to leave and pass the mic.
Well, I needed the mic to say that one. I wouldn't have been able to.
True.
We gotta make sure we catch it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like after this conversation, I need to do some more research here.
I just want to look at more of your art. I'm not gonna lie.
We were going through the Friends.
Yeah, we were
earlier,
going through them
and he's like, "Should we buy the floor one right now?" And I'm like, I did do some research.
I saw the joint scrolling going on.
Yeah. I was like, damn. Well, some of them are like mind blowing. Like I didn't. The one with the fucking shadow that wasn't listed.
Oh, I love that one. Yeah, and the one that's in a bubble as well, just vibing, like very insulated, but like transparently on display. Like I don't know.
I gotta ask about like your creation process on a lot of your one-on-ones. They're insanely fucking detailed. It's like all these characters combined, but it's telling a story. It's not just like, oh, I need to fit all these characters in. It's like put in a way that makes sense, and if you look at it, tells a story. Do you like sketch these out and have a rough idea?
So like a lot of them are centered around one character, essentially. So we'll start with that as a sketch, and it'll be like a rough idea. So one of them we sold as a print was a dude painting a character who was drawing a character who was drawing a character who was drawing. I was like, that's a pretty fun concept. I was like, I haven't seen that done. Maybe like sort of the hand. It's in the pencil where the
Escher.
Yeah, the Escher one. So I was like, okay, what if that was sort of extended in like a very 2D flat concept? So that'll be like the idea. Then like it'll all be freehand. Like I might sketch out the first bit, then it'll all be just straight into Illustrator. It's the mic's picking up.
Bomber jet. The mics are pretty good. They might have picked that one up. That one was impressive. I had to make sure they weren't dropping anything on us.
Airdrops.
Yeah, so it'll start with like sketch, but usually just straight into Illustrator. I use a fucking mouse and keyboard, like drawing shapes, like fucking all that shit. So yeah.
So you're out there using a mouse and keyboard.
Mate,
you're not using the tablet.
Nah, fuck that. Mouse
That's
and keyboard.
wild.
Yeah. Draw the shapes out. You can like make a perfect circle. Make another perfect circle, crop it, like fucking do the gradients, create the shadows. But yeah, mouse and keyboard. So it's a very different process. So people would be like, draw something. I'm like, I will,
That's
but
funny.
it's gonna look fucking shit. So yeah, that's sort of like usually, but like sometimes might be like more of a concept, like fucking being on Twitter and how I feel about that, and yeah, I enjoy it. But those pieces, it's fucking grueling. It's a fucking slog, but
Well, I mean, I can tell. I feel like it takes, like, looking at them, like, that feels like months of work. Like,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't feel like you just whip that out in a week.
yeah, I think I always think like a cool thing would be like, what if it was a puzzle? Like just like I'd like to see this as like a puzzle. And
Have
that's
you
like
made any of your
concept.
pieces into puzzles?
No, I think I'd like to. I think it'd just be fun.
I think that'd be a hit.
Mm.
Do you feel like you're Starman? Parts of you.
I
are
did.
Starman?
I don't know.
Interesting. So when you first created it, you felt like you were part of
Yeah.
him?
So essentially, what we do now is we have like multiple main characters. So it's like you put your bit of personality into each one. So like you divide it up, and create dynamics within that. So yeah, switched up maybe a bit.
Which character is Roger?
The really cool, buff
The cool
guy,
buff looking good one.
he's
Yeah, yeah.
Just
The
everyone loves him.
ninja one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Just fucking great guy.
And which
Yeah.
one is Redbeard?
Just other one.
Yeah.
Your David Bowie artwork.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the story and the details, we had an hour call,
Yeah.
and you walked me through sort of like the top 10 reference points in each of the 6 eras that's all contained in one piece of art. And it's stunning. It is stunning. It's meaningful. You could spend 10 minutes on one piece of art and ask yourself 100 different questions. And yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good segue to talk about that piece a little bit.
Yeah, it's fucking long. Yeah, I got the opportunity. I said I didn't want to fucking do it, and they're like, "What? Why?" I was like, "It's monolithic, like fucking Bowie. Like, I feel like it's almost disrespectful to try and encapsulate that in an artwork. Like, that's my gut instinct. I was like, that sucks. Like, what an ego-driven thing to do. Like, I can put all that into one picture. I was like, fuck that. I was like, that's weird. So then I went to New York. I spoke to Fiwo. He's like, yeah, I'm doing it. I was like, oh, okay. Why? He's like, just fucking do it. I was like, yeah, but he's like, you're just scared. Like, you're just fucking scared. I was like, yeah, you're right. He's like, you're a massive Bowie fan. Like, why would you not fucking do it? I was like, I don't fucking know.
So Fiwo gave you the pep talk.
Yeah, we sat there talking about it, like in near Times Square. We're just sitting there and discussing it, and he was talking about getting a suit, and I was like, he's like going through the vault and shit, and I was like, that's cool.
I feel like this. You just described like a scene of like a movie that's gonna, like 20 years from now, when they make the movie about Fiwo, and Defaced is gonna be a character, and they're gonna be talking. Like, you just described a scene that's gonna be written one day.
Guys, I love you.
Yes.
I would stay for literally hours if I
I know.
didn't have
You have
this.
another talk.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna stay, but
This was a pre-talk. You had to warm up the vocal cords.
But this is not a warm up. This is Shipwrecked. But for real, I would literally stay here for hours.
We'll keep it.
Every single one of you have so much love and respect for.
We'll sit down plenty more.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This is the
We have
first of many.
We have to do it again. Next time, let's get like we'll get like Raph or like Fuck Render to come on with you. That would be amazing. I think. Yeah.
All right, my friends.
Take care, Roger.
Roger.
We can keep talking.
Yeah, we'll keep going. Love
Good
you,
luck
brother.
on the talk.
Good luck. Tell Micah we
Roger.
said hi.
Maybe grab a biscuit on the way out.
Yeah. Tell NorCal we're waiting for him. Okay.
I expect NorCal to come out in like a maid outfit
Yeah,
with
right?
a plate of
I
biscuits.
can't wait.
So as nobody knows yet, but NorCal is making us biscuits today because he's been tweeting that he is the best biscuit maker in the world, right?
I think he won multiple award-winning biscuit contests.
Yeah, like in his local town. And so we're ready for these biscuits. I didn't eat breakfast. I don't know where he is, but I'm very excited. Do you like biscuits or do you like scones?
I'm easy.
You're easy?
Yeah.
When I say biscuit, do you think of like a cookie?
No, I think of like a little McVitie's, like beige circular.
Yeah.
thing.
Nice
Okay.
and fluffy.
No, like fucking like rock.
Yeah.
Oh, like
a cookie.
the UK. Yeah, like a cookie.
It's a biscuit there. Is
Yeah,
a cookie.
it's a mind fuck. Cause
I also found out that, how do you say pants?
Trousers.
Trousers.
Yeah.
Right.
Trousers.
There's a bunch of weird things.
I've changed my dialect when I come here. Like,
Yeah.
The trash
Actually,
is rubbish, all that shit.
I have a little secret,
Everyone's like, what?
and I think we should do it. Kane has a really good American accent.
Oh, fucking hell.
Last time we were in New York, he pretended to do an American accent around other people, and it was pretty good.
Did this happen? I really don't recall.
Yeah,
this
you did it
at all.
Where
was it?
In NFT NYC.
At the pizza place. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now you remember.
How drunk were you when you gave the? We didn't drink enough today. We just had liquid death. We didn't have enough.
No, this is perfect.
I don't think I could do an English accent.
No, I wouldn't do it on a podcast. I'd be disrespectful. I'd fuck it up.
It could be like cranky.
Go on, fucking do it then. Do it. Just
I don't think I can.
Why? What's the?
I don't know if I have the. I think I have very my
Dave
vocal
done
cords.
one in the Uber yesterday.
What?
Krugman done one in the Uber.
No, Dave does a really good English accent.
Right.
So does my wife, by the way. And sometimes I ask her to do it for me. But just being honest.
Babe, can you do the accent for me?
Yeah, like, hey, just like let's pretend we're in London and we just in Trafalgar
It's not like
Square.
a role playing thing you guys get into, just like little accents.
Yeah, just like, hey,
When in London,
when in London, let's do an English accent. I'm not good at it. She is. Yeah,
the Big Ben or something.
yeah exactly. Big Ben Parliament.
I think you should try an English accent, and you should do the American.
Okay.
The
Ready?
elephant in the room.
Switch seats, switch hats.
No, we could. Okay, I got it. Ready?
Hey man.
Hey, Defaced.
Fuck it hell. That's enough. That's enough of that.
That's enough of that.
I think I just did an Australian / like Middle Eastern accent.
That was your best
not
Steve
English.
Irwin.
That was my best Steve Irwin ever.
Fucking hell.
Nah, I'm sorry.
That was bad.
Mine was pretty bad, right?
Fucking hell.
Yours is pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
I wish I still played RuneScape a lot because a lot of my RuneScape friends were all British.
Did you go on Skype together or what was it?
It was a mixture of a little bit of Skype, and then we moved to TeamSpeak,
You grew up.
and then we did Discord in like 2016 when that came out.
It's so funny that you were doing Discord for gaming.
Yeah, dude, Discord's
Back
great
then,
for gaming.
right?
Discord's the shit. Like back in 2016 when Discord came out, this was like, holy fuck! Like this is like
Yeah.
everything we need. We
Well, you
got
didn't-
channels.
Yeah.
We can fucking break things out. We can have multiple chat. It's like we don't have to pay for this fucking TeamSpeak server.
Fuck.
My first Discord, funny enough, was for the iPad game with you build your castles and shit. What's it called?
I have no idea.
And like, well, they
Is
call
it a pay to win one? It's like one
yeah,
that Gabe
like one of
Layden
those.
made.
Game, yeah.
Yeah, and I got
Game of
someone
War
was
or
like, "Yo, there's
whatever.
a Discord." I was like, "Okay," and then
How much did you spend on it?
it was like $5 to get on the Discord or something like
No,
that.
on the game, on the app.
Oh, I spent a lot of money. Too much.
He was doing some NFT research before they existed.
I definitely play less video games, which I'm trying to play more. Now my daughter plays with me, so I'm definitely playing. And I'm playing a lot of God of War with her, which is awesome.
How old
But
is she?
she's 8.
I play a lot of
It's
God.
like-
She's like, you know, Raph.
Yeah. Come on, you know Raph Grassetti. Just ignore the cursing and the fighting and the killing and
The beheading,
I try not
the
to
gore.
press
It's just-
the circle button when they're about to die, so like you don't get that extra kill, right? So I'm always like just trying not to kill them that way. But I used to play.
It's like saying you're playing Gears of War with your daughter, but you're not curb stomping or chainsawing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
like
It's
I'm just gonna,
ketchup. It's ketchup.
she plays with me. Actually, she's a pretty good gamer. She learned how to play the most from Far Cry 6. Cause
you're the
Hold
dad
on,
I wish
hold
I
on.
had, man. When I was a kid, my mom, there was no Grand Theft Auto. I had to go to my friends to like play anything rated M. I had to get my grandpa to buy me Call of Duty. Like,
let me defend myself for a second. Okay, it's an open world game, so it's a lot easier for the play. Now, I would play Skyrim with her, but Skyrim is banned in my house because I played around 180 hours of Skyrim. And by the way, these jets I keep going over this are private jets. You see this? Every single one. Where are we? We're like in the richest area in like Miami or something.
he can't stay focused
Sorry.
because the jets are
Yeah,
just like, wow, that's a nice one.
It's all these private jets. That was Roger. He just left to go.
Yeah, Roger's going to his talk.
NFT now. I just took his jet. I played like I don't know, like I would say maybe over 200 hours of Skyrim.
And at what period of time?
Like
A few months?
yeah,
Okay.
it was nuts. It was like
How many days is that?
I don't ask me that question.
Let's work that out.
I mean, it's a little under 10
It was
days.
a
It's
lot.
like 8 days.
I might
playtime.
have played even more, but one day my wife stood in front of the TV and said, I'm going to give you two choices. You could keep playing Skyrim, or you could stay married to me.
Now you're divorced, yeah.
And now I'm divorced.
Now he's divorced.
Yeah.
Now he's on his second wife.
That was my first wife. And that was it. And then
I met my second wife on Skyrim, actually.
Right.
I haven't FaceTimed her yet, but
I don't know what she looks like.
it's a lovely voice.
But we have 3 kids, and I don't know what she looks like. So
She said she's a woman.
yeah, but no, I decided to stop playing Skyrim.
I met my wife playing video games, so she got to know really quick what to expect. Like, I put 300 days into old school RuneScape between 2014 and 2018.
That's how you met.
No, I met her on League of Legends.
League of Legends.
2012.
Right.
But I spent 12 plus hours a day on RuneScape, even if it was just like AFK chopping down trees or something. It's like I gotta get XP. Like, if I was here in my peak days, I would be sitting here on my phone on RuneScape getting XP while we talk. Like, that's how addicted I was. I would be at work with my phone on a pop socket in a meeting, like in the thieving stall, just tapping the night, getting my XP. And it was like, if I'm alive and I'm breathing, why would I not be getting experience in RuneScape? And that was just like the thought process.
It was like the earliest play to earn. I mean, it's what it was.
Dude, it was just play to own.
Play to own.
Play to win.
Yeah. It was addicting. I know you're a huge Mario Kart fan, right?
Yeah. Sorry, just going back to that. I was looking at like gotcha games.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a weird world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fucking bizarre. This guy was living with his parents. He spent like 70k on this like anime.
Oh my god.
He's like, I just want to see him get stronger. I was like, what? Yeah.
Just him get stronger.
I was like, that's so bizarre.
Have you hit the gym, brother?
Yeah.
You don't need to pay 70 grand to get stronger.
Mate, the amount of money these games make, like
it's crazy. The whales.
Genshin Impact, if you heard of that made like a billion, sorry, like
I had a friend, he literally was so good at World of Warcraft. He's like make characters, max them out, and like sell the characters for gold in the game.
Yeah.
Well, there were people who would multi-box. Like, you would have one screen and you would control 8 characters with the same input. You could multi-level all 8 or multi-level 16, and people would sell all of them.
All of them.
You could do 16 characters at once. And like, that was early, people botting RuneScape and stuff. That got a lot of people into dev shit. Like, as a kid, people weren't really interested, but when you could bot RuneScape and make money, then people are like, oh, I can make like $300 a night while I'm sleeping off the bot farm.
But it did create sort of a world for e-gaming, I think, in a lot of ways, 100%.
I mean, it created like this economy. You have a virtual economy with a token or currency that is, in our case, not owned by us.
Right.
Like, the company can just take it away.
Totally centralized.
Like, they're like, hey, this is RuneScape Gold, but like, if you buy or sell it, we have the right to ban your account. But we can buy or sell it.
But that's why I think the next generation that is going to come in, I know that we care about decentralization, but I do think the younger generation might not care as much as we do. Like, my daughter plays Roblox, and she always wants me to buy Robux for her. And she doesn't care. I mean, I know she's only 8.
How do you set limits as a parent with kids? Because like, you're obviously in a good position. You could buy a good amount of Roblox bucks.
It's not. So I'm not gonna lie. I definitely spoil my children up to an extent. I'm really careful about it. Like, we don't have a massive house. We have a nice house. We have one car. Like, I do take them on nice vacations, but we don't I'm not flying them first class to China or Japan or something crazy like that. Right. Why? But, I buy them a lot of stuff. So it is hard because I don't want them to get spoiled. And I'm seeing that they are getting spoiled, but they're good kids, but they expect things sometimes now. But when it comes to Roblox, I'm very you only get it if you do good things, you clean up the house, it's your birthday. And, she buys with the Robux, clothing and stuff like that. And she thinks she owns it. Like, I say this all the time. Like, I said it the other day. I'm like, my daughter literally knows more about a digital asset than probably 95% of the NFT space. Because she just she's like, oh, a digital asset is a real asset to her. While we're trying to figure out how to flip it, she's like, no, I just want to own it. And that's the aha moment I think we're going to get to at some point.
Yeah, I was watching this video on gotcha games. They're talking about the breakdown of where people spend their money, and skins and stuff are not that. I thought that would be like a massive like income source, but it's not. It's in people wanting to progress and pay to progress. So like you're building like a fucking castle, you can speed it up, and that's where all the fucking money's made.
Yeah,
and I was
because it's like pay to win, right? Like
yeah.
I listen.
Except you never win.
But you know Gabe Layden from Digi Daigeku, Limit Break. You know he made a massive mobile game, made billions of dollars, and now he's in Web3. And he was saying something along the lines of like, people spend all this money because they can be in the mix in something. It's like, all you need to do is insert your credit card and you're now in the mix. Like you have a very rich dude in the Middle East. They have people who work like part-time to buy video game credits on their account. Like, because you can only buy like 20 or 50
You ever
or $100.
see that like in like that video of the guy riding his bike with all the
Pokemon Go, wasn't it?
Pokemon Go screens, and because he wants to like, and like he has like 20 screens in front of his like bicycle. Did you ever see that before?
I've seen variations of people on bicycles.
That's like really nuts. Also, like what's his name? That actor who passed away, from that HBO show. I can't remember his name. He did sort of like a docuseries, and he would go in. He kind of undercovered these like farming areas that would do this for music, like the likes on.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and like basically like everything is sort of like all these like likes on what's it called? Where we get all our music now, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify.
It's all just like manufactured farming to like get more money. Yeah. And it's a really crazy thing. You're like, wait, what's real? Like, what's not real?
Well, yeah, there's artists who come in the scene and like bought their Spotify to make it look like they have a bunch of monthly followers and stuff.
Right.
I know we're coming up.
Yes.
A little over. I see Rachel over there.
Yes.
How do we want to wrap up Shipwrecked? Do we want to ask any questions or?
Yeah, I guess like Deeze, I want to ask you a question.
Go for it.
How are you doing? I feel like nobody ever asks Deeze how he's doing. It's always like, what are you doing for me? But how are you doing? How's this trip been for you?
This has been relaxing. I haven't been going out to parties.
Right.
I've been a lot more focused on hanging out with friends, building deeper relationships with people I already know, rather than trying to meet a bunch of new people. And I think that's kind of been the theme for me this bear market, is kind of going back and looking at who are all the people I didn't get to talk to over the last 2 years who've been doing badass stuff for as long as I have, or maybe even longer, and like getting to know them more rather than just like trying to constantly keep my ears to the ground on what's new. I'm trying to keep up with what's new, but I'm putting more emphasis on going back and rekindling friendships or, connections I made with people in the bull run that I wasn't able to keep up with, or just trying to go deeper with people. And that's what a lot of this is. Like, we're just trying to have conversations with people. It's
funny because Kane and I have this conversation all the time, and I've had it with you and Sam, who's coming on. But Kane, I know you feel very strongly about this. When I bring Kane to parties, he's overly ecstatic, obviously, and dancing. But you always talk about how the vibes for you also is very much the small group, one-to-ones, and how that's really important to you.
Depends on your personality, I suppose, but I don't fucking know. I don't enjoy it. That's what this is ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been like trying to have, less than 30 people back to one location and just keep the vibes at like talking like this. Like, I don't want to have to scream or blast music.
I was talking to Roger about it. I was like, I feel more bummed if I say I met you at a party. Oh, how you doing, man? And that's it.
Yeah. And we don't get to talk.
It sucks. It's worse than if I didn't fucking see you there.
We gotta catch up later.
Yeah, I kind of met him.
That's what happened at every NFT event from NFT NYC in 2021 to like ETH LA to ETH Denver, Art Basel, fucking Crypto Bahamas. VCon was the first event where I got to talk to people because we were all in that speaker area, kind of, I want to say safe, but like we knew that it was just speakers there. We don't need to like have our guard up and, be prepared.
Get chilled in an alleyway.
Oh my God, dude. Are you Deeze?
Can
I tell you about my new collection?
Deeze, did you hear about Defaced and Friends? I heard he's releasing 10,000 more.
I've got a good way to end Shipwrecked.
Yes.
You should do like desert island discs. Like if you're on a desert island, what would be your disc or like music album you'd take?
Okay.
Gut reaction. Can it be like just an album? I'd probably say like Adventure by Madion.
Okay.
It's just like a very chill EDM album that I put on when I'm on my shrooms and I need just good vibes. I don't know what to do. I just put that on. And I feel like on a deserted island, I need something like I'm a really neurotic person and I have a lot of ups and downs. So I need like that safety blanket of music to stability me. So that's why I would pick that album.
Yeah.
I think I would go. It's tough. I like so much different music. I think I would go with Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
Like, just because I'm probably going to starve to death while I'm on the island, so I need something that's chilling me out while I die. But also because I think his music always spoke to me. You know, he didn't have, like, the best voice, but his words and the pace was always, like, when I need something sort of to chill me out or bring me back, I usually go to that sort of... I usually go back to Leonard Cohen more than anybody, so I would say...
I like it.
Leonard Cohen. Or Ed Balloon. Yeah. What would you go?
I don't know. I think, like, I like Brian Eno because it's music to live to. I wouldn't say it's music as such. It's more like just a background to life. And I like that sort of concept of, like, just having something else, like a frequency or, like, a wave there for, like, you to interact with. And, yeah, he described his work like making an audio painting, and I thought it's just such a fascinating thing, something you can come back to after like an hour and you might not even realise it's fucking on. So yeah, just keep your sanity, neurosis down to a minimum.
Well, let's hope we don't really get shipwrecked. And
if we do, we'll have 3 good albums.
We'll have 3 good albums, so it'll be fine. We can't eat those, but it'll be good. We'll hang out together and listen to all the music.
You can eat me first. If we were on a desert island, I'd probably be the first one to get eaten.
Nah, Roger.
Roger, for sure, yeah. Well, we have to take
too muscular.
We have to take the conch away from Roger because we don't trust him.
3v1.
Right.
Spears, like fucking Lord of the Flies.
Defaced, we love you. We love your art. I mean, I know Deeze and I both talked about your art a lot. We appreciate you coming. I know this isn't easy because you hate doing these things,
I love it.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
I'm sorry we had to have Roger with you. I apologize for that.
Yeah, it did bring
down a little
bit.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, it got better when he left.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hold the microphone.
Now you don't have to pass it.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
So
thank you, man. This has been great.
Brilliant.
I told Redbeard, like, let's just do stuff.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends. We have a lot to talk about. And at the end of the day, a lot of people don't get to listen to these type of conversations. No. A lot of people don't get to come to Miami, or if they do, they don't get to be in this backyard.
Yeah.
And why not share them for everybody?
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk like this amongst ourselves more often than not.
This is like our DMs,
but in vocal
like a
form
IRL, you know. And I think that's really, I love that also. So.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you, man.
Thank you. No,
it's been a good vibe.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right.
Those fucking shoes look so good.
All right, guys.
Still kick it.
How do we close this?
We just wrap it. I'm the worst. He knows this.
Yeah.
I think we should do like a crash and like a sound effect.
Like
yeah.
Boom. Yeah. The plane dropping a bomb.
Yeah. Then we're shipwrecked.